Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone today's Chamber of Commerce Luncheon, featuring our special guest speaker, Dr. Diana Greene, new Superintendent of the school district. I am Bill Poulton. I serve on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors as the Vice Chairman of Public Policy and Small Business. In my day job, I work for Tropicana. Before we get started with introducing Dr. Greene, I'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd first like to recognize and introduce the elected officials in attendance today. Representing U.S. Congressman Vern Buchanan, Gary Tibbetts. Gary. Representing Senator Marco Rubio, Shauna Johnson. Manatee County Judge Gilbert Smith. From the school board, Karen Carpenter. From the Manatee County Commission, Commissioner Betsy Benak. Commissioner John Chappie. And Commissioner Robin DiSabatino. And from the City of Bradenton, Councilman Gene Gallo. I'd also like to recognize and thank our sponsors for today's luncheon, Kaiser University and the Mosaic Company. Thank you very much. After serving for a brief period of time as interim superintendent, the school board voted to appoint Dr. Diana Greene as superintendent of the Manatee County School District on June 9th. Dr. Greene has been in education with more than 28 years of combined experience in senior executive leadership, curriculum development, staff development, school administration, and teaching. She graduated from Santa Fe Community College, where she attended on a track scholarship, and went on to the University of North Florida. Dr. Greene has a doctorate degree from Capella University in advanced K-12 education. Dr. Greene joined the school district of Manatee County in 2013 as Deputy Superintendent of Instructional Services. In 1 year, she led academic initiatives to increase school grades by at least 24 schools by at least one letter grade, 7 by 2 letter grades, increased math scores by 9%, reading scores by 3%, and writing scores by 10%, all very impressive achievements. As Deputy Superintendent, she co-facilitated a plan that moved our district from an $8 million deficit to a $14 million surplus in 1 year. Before coming to Manatee County Public Schools, Dr. Greene was Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction in Marion County Public Schools in Ocala, Florida. Please join me in welcoming our new superintendent, Dr. Diana Greene.
Good afternoon. First, I want to thank Bill for that wonderful introduction. And, you know, I've been speaking all week to different departments and different segments of our school district. And the first group that I spoke to this morning were our bus drivers, and they were so excited. So if I can depend on them to be excited, we have a chance of having a great school year. So thank you, Bill. But before I begin, I want to also introduce some people I think are very important to me. My pastor, Dr. Reverend Holly, he's here supporting me today, as well as Miss Harvey, former school board member of Manatee County. Bill gave me a great introduction, and I'm going to punch a couple holes in that. As you see, I am no longer a trackster. That part of my life kind of left. I actually went there on a scholarship, and I actually had a scholarship to Troy University after finishing Santa Fe. And on the last meet of the year, you know, I kept telling my coach, I don't want to run today. Something's not right. I feel that something's going to happen. And my coach told me, oh, you need to run today because Troy University is sitting in the stands waiting so that you can sign to join them. And I started the race, and the third hurdle, I was a hurdler, 110 hurdler. And the third hurdler, I heard this huge pop. And I fell to the ground, and the first thing that came to my mind is, see, Coach, I told you something bad was going to happen. And I looked down and saw my kneecap hanging over on the other side. So that was kind of the end of my track career. I had completely severed my ACL and torn all the cartilage in my knee. So one would think, why are you still wearing 3-inch heels? Vein is painful. So that kind of ended my track career, and I decided I had to get serious about what was I going to do with the rest of my life. And education was a natural transition for me because my grandmother was a teacher and a principal. My father was a teacher. Today, my brother-in-law is in transportation with the school district in Marion County. My nephew runs DJJ in Marion County. So education has just been all around my family. And now I want to bring that type of feeling here to Manatee County. And there's a real important reason why we have to, because the Chamber of Commerce cannot afford for us to fail. We are the largest business in Manatee County. We have over 6,000 employees, 48,000 students, 52 traditional schools, 12 charter schools, so total 64 facilities that we have to man. We cannot afford for us to go backwards. The only direction we can afford to go is forward. And I'm going to share with you why it's so important that we come together as a community. Bill talked about the great academic gains we made my first year here. And they really weren't about me. They were about all the people working in our schools and supporting our schools. But in 1 year, through a tumultuous school year, focused on so many other things that had nothing to do with education, I'm almost certain that all of those gains will be lost this upcoming school year, for the past school year. So it can so easily turn the wrong direction when we're not focused on what's important. So even though I'm the one here talking today, it is not about Diana Greene. It is not about the 5 school board members. It is only about, are we providing a high-quality education? You cannot sell Manatee County. You cannot sell Bradenton. You cannot sell Lakewood Ranch. You cannot sell Palmetto if the schools in those areas are not performing. I sounded like a politician right there. I'm not running for any office, I promise you. But I believe so deeply in our school district. Bill said his day job was Tropicana. My day job is Manatee County. My night job is Manatee County Public Schools. My weekend job is Manatee County Public Schools, except for Sunday, Reverend Holly. I'm there. It is so important that we get back to the basics and focus on what we do best as a school district, and that's educating our students. So how do we do that? We do that by focusing on the organizations and the community partnerships that we have that can help us educate our students. We cannot do this by ourselves. I don't think people know what we are working with and for. Today, about 67% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. Today, almost 51% of our students are minority. They may be Hispanic, African American, Haitian Creole. Now we are starting to get a large flux of Vietnamese students into our school district. We are truly the melting pot of this community, and many of these students come with challenges that those of us in this room would never experience in our lifetime. And so the type of services that we have to start offering in our school district are changing. For example, you may have heard in the paper about we're investing in the graduation enhancement technician, trying to eradicate chronic absenteeism, where 30% of our students are missing more than 10 days of school. Many of those students are missing days from schools because of issues that are happening in their families and with their families. And they struggle to make the means meet the end, or the end meet the needs. And so many times students aren't coming to school for the simple fact that they don't have the means to get to school. Or they're not sure that when I come back home from school, there'll be anybody there waiting for me. So we are going to invest in after-school programs for our elementary students. We are going to continue our strong relationship with the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. We are also embarking on a new, it's really not new, but a program called Good News Club. Today it's in 3 of our elementary schools. We're trying to expand that program through all of our elementary schools as quickly as possible. It is a faith-based after-school program for elementary students. We're going to continue to expand with our partnership with the United Way and USF Sarasota Manatee in grade level reading initiative. We became a regional partner with Sarasota. We will continue to speak that mantra of attendance works, because if they are there, they have the opportunity to learn. If they're not there, that opportunity is completely gone. We are also investing in a master growth plan so that as we continue to grow, we can meet the needs of our students. Today, we are at 48,000 students. Just 3 years ago, we were only at 45,000. So we're gaining about 1,000 students a year. I will tell you, those 64 facilities are starting to get a little crowded, and we are going to have to plan for growth and building of new schools. But in order to do that, we have to deal with the budget that we currently have. And so one of the ways of creating stability is having a balanced budget. We just shared with the school board our $390 million operating budget. And for the average person, I was just talking to Mike Barber about this speech, and he said, you know, I asked a lot of people, what do they think our budget is? And he said the highest number anyone's come up with is $30 million. $30 million gets us through 3 weeks of school. We need $390 million, and we are very proud that it is budgeted. But let me tell you what makes up some of that $390 million. Transportation. We have a fleet of 216 buses that during the course of a school year will travel 3.2 million miles to transport our students to and from school. They will use over 530,000 gallons of diesel fuel in just bus transportation. That cost comes about to the tune of a little over $12 million for us to run our transportation. Utility costs, just turning the lights on and the air on, cost us about $12 million to support our 64 schools and our department, our facilities around the district. Food service. It is one of the largest restaurants, it is an enterprise. We do not use tax dollars to support food service. It is a $10 million a year business that we run through the school district. Keeping our secondary schools safe, having a SRO in every single one of our middle and high schools costs close to $2 million. Having nurses, LPNs in our schools, another $3 million. As you see, the cost continues to rise, and I have not even talked about the classroom. I've not even talked about what it costs to ensure that we have high-quality teachers in front of our students. Today, we just did teacher orientation with over 200 new teachers. These are individuals who have come to our community who will be investing into Manatee County. We cannot afford to fail, but I can't do it by myself. The school board can't do it by itself. We need strong partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce and other organizations to support our schools. There will come a time where we will need you to support our schools and new revenue for our school district as we continue to build new schools. There will come a time where we will need you to volunteer in our schools as we continue to try to ensure that 100% of our third graders are going to be proficient at the end of third grade. We will need you. But in turn, you need us. You need us to be successful. So we are supporting our teachers. We are providing every resource that we can possibly provide for them by ensuring that they have the newest textbooks that are available, ensuring that we can invest in technology that they can use in their classrooms, and ensuring that they have quality health care and make a reasonable wage so that they are now focused on our children and not focused on, can I feed my own children? Today we pay the board contributes $42 million for health care for our employees, along with $12 million from premiums from our employees. That cost will only continue to rise. So in part of developing this balanced budget, we also know that we have to come back and revamp our health care. We have to look at how we can save costs, but at the same time, ensure that our employees have health insurance that is of quality. So with all of that, you can see we have a big job. But I am very fortunate to have a great leadership team that is supporting me. Many of these individuals graduated from a Manatee County high school. Many of these people have invested their lives, their children's lives into Manatee, and they're expecting me to help lead us in the right direction. And I'm going to do that. And now I'm expecting you to get on board and join me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I won't leave you up here alone.
I left plenty of time.
You do. You have 25 minutes.
Yes.
So, you can't fake passion, right? So, I'd like to thank Dr. Greene for your honest and heartfelt passion and your authentic leadership that was so evident in your remarks. So thank you very much. We will now enter the question and answer phase. A couple of ground rules. We have a microphone. The lovely and talented Jana Leinhauser in the back will deliver the microphone to you for your question. So two things. Wait to start your question until you have the microphone in your hand. And secondly, please stand and identify yourself. We have about 20 minutes for questions. So first question, please.
Hi, my name is Sarah. Yeah. Hi, my name is Sarah Hand, and our company is called Spark Growth. You asked for community help, and you're talking about where we could help you as we go forward in the future. As you look at this next school year, starting in a couple of weeks, what are 2 or 3 things that people in this room could do to be present in a couple of weeks and for this year?
Well, one, we need 2 or 3 people to stand up and continue to say how proud they are of the Manatee County Public Schools. I think something is lost into this whole era of assessment and testing, that's all people look at. They do not realize the powerful things that happen in the school district. For example, we just won nationally with our USA Skills. MTC continues to be a national leader in technical education. We also were in the top 2% of largest technical centers. So one, we need to get people excited about the school district again. Number two, we need support in the volunteer programs that we have going on with our largest initiative, grade level reading. And so if people haven't visited the website, you simply Google Manatee grade level reading and you can see what we're starting to do. We need individuals to participate when we have these forums and we discuss what's happening in Manatee. Today we have 1,175 third graders who possibly would have been retained this year because of where they scored on the FSA. Through the hard work of our teachers and our curriculum department, we've narrowed that down now to less than 200 students. But that's still 200 students that have to repeat the third grade. And our research says they're already 69% likely to drop out of high school. So if you do 200 every year, we're now talking thousands of students who are not going to be productive citizens. So they will not be utilizing any of these businesses here because they can't afford it, or they will be visiting the sheriff and living in his facility for the remainder of their life, and or creating crimes that may impact your neighborhood that leads them to this point. So the grade level reading initiative, I really need everyone to get on board with that initiative, and I would like to recognize Phil Brown and Bronwyn Batal, who's kind of been our leader of the grade level reading initiative, and we just need more people to get on board and support it.
My name is Becky Kness. I'm the Executive Director of Just for Girls Academy. I was happy to hear that you included the charter schools in the term we. We've been a real proud partner of the school district for about 25 years with our alternative education program, which is also a dropout prevention program. You mentioned the bus drivers this morning, and you mentioned transportation as a huge part of the budget. And when I think about the district budget, I think of all the charter school budgets as well, and we're all part of that taxpayer purse. And efficiency is so important to putting more dollars into education. Would you be open to exploring a reconsideration of the vote that discontinued transportation for charter schools? Because if we all share bus drivers and vehicles and resources, we can be more efficient together. We can also then make sure we have more students in their classroom. Transportation is the #1 barrier to accessing good education. We are, at Just for Girls Academy, the poorest school in Manatee County. And we also have the worst attendance record, and there's a relationship between poverty and attendance, and you mentioned that. We need the district's help with transportation. Would you be open to reconsidering that and helping us move that initiative forward for the sake of these students that are struggling?
I love those type questions in front of the world. Actually, I've already talked to Mr. Harris, and we have a menu of options. I do need to share that we are about efficiency. However, at this time, our elementary schools, many of those students are coming to school 20 to 30 minutes beyond the bell because of how we do charter transportation. So we cannot continue on the path that we're on today, but we have discussed, here are some options. And so charters will get to pick from the menu which one will serve me best, but at the same time, help us as a district to become more efficient. It isn't fair to ask our principals to watch students who don't attend their school because that hub is on their campus. And that, again, is not being efficient because they're spending their time watching a small group of students when their other students are on campus. So we just need to put our heads together and be creative and find options that will work for both the school district as well as our charters.
Hi, thank you very much for being here, Dr. Greene. My name is Misty Servia, and my question is also about efficiency. So I heard what you said about all the costs that it takes to educate our children. Are there other opportunities for increasing efficiency in our district? Could you talk about what we have done and what we can do? And I'm thinking about energy costs and paper costs and things like that. Thank you.
Actually, we are looking at the energy cost situation, but I need to give my maintenance department a big kudos because over the past 2 years, we have come up with $1.5 million in cost avoidance on energy costs. We believe that we need to look at companies that will replace windows or ways that we can build our facilities, which would get us sort of like energy credits, in addition to looking at behavior change. Many of our newer schools, when you leave the classroom, the lights shut off by themselves. Our older schools, that is not the case. And so we believe that if we put in some education into our schools and our schools buy into, we can control this. This is a cost I can control at my own school. So we are working on that as a leadership team to bring some options to the school board, and then the school board will decide which option they feel is best. Transportation is the area that we are also looking at efficiencies, and that's why it was brought up that we were discussing that we would no longer offer transportation to our charter schools. One, it's not required by statute, and two, not only were we being inefficient, but we were also delaying education for a large number of students who were coming to school 30 to 40 minutes late. And many of these schools are schools where they are Title I schools, so these children are depending on breakfast from our schools, and so if you're already 40 minutes late, now you have to go to breakfast, then that's another probably 15 minutes, so you've missed the first hour of school and we can't continue. That is an educational inefficiency that we need to correct. But in addition to that, we are looking at purchasing a new ERP system that is a business software package. Today, payroll, we have 10 lovely, wonderful people who work in payroll. We need 10 because they still do it manually. That's inefficient. Not only is it inefficient, but it leaves us open to mistakes. And who wants their paycheck to be less than what it's supposed to be and have to deal with that? So that is probably our number one priority this year, is to purchase a new business package so that we can make those inefficiencies more disappear and be more effective.
Mind if I hold that? I'm used to it. Do you really? Yes, I do. Oh, I'm too old to hold a microphone. Dr. Greene, Jean Gallo.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to thank you very much for coming here and speaking to us today. And I want to congratulate you for being selected as a superintendent for Manatee County Schools. I'm looking forward to the fresh direction that I think you will be leading this school.
Thank you.
I've been involved in the schools since the early 70s, starting as PTA presidents, booster presidents, selection committees for at high school, selection committees for the school administration, and I want to offer that service to you. Should you need any volunteers, I'm ready, willing, and able, at least for a couple more years. And my question to you, and it's more of a curiosity, but what was your best timing when you were running the hurdles?
13.8. I am a state, I'm a state champion. I was state champion my junior year. So. And I don't know why I thought hurdlers were because my senior year I was predicted to win and I fell on the last hurdle. So obviously I thought I was a hurdler, but somebody else thought better of that.
Oh, okay. You're good. I'm good. Okay. Hi, Dr. Greene. Thank
Hello.
you so much. Janet Isham with Realize Bradenton. So excited to hear about your comments on community partnerships. And next week, Realize Bradenton staff will be meeting with your music people, your theater people, and your visual arts faculty through your supervisor of arts. And we want to increase our showcasing of your creative talent, all the great stories of your faculty and your students at our 75 events, Farmers Market, Art Slam, Music in the Park. My question's really about There's a lot of focus right now in education on STEAM, and it's science, technology, engineering, and math. And at a time when business and industry needs creative people, innovation, and team players, I'm personally interested, as well as many nationally, to transform STEM into STEAM, to really integrate the visual arts, the performing arts, the literary arts, the performing arts as a central core process in school programs as well as after school. So we have had the last few years a great opportunity and experience working with your staff and your teachers. And can you give us a few words of the importance of arts, creativity, innovation in a student's education?
It's very important, but I also have to be truthful. It is extremely difficult to integrate the arts with science, technology, engineering. One, elementary teachers are generalists. They're required to teach literacy, math, science, social studies, and for most of them are not experts in any one of those areas at the particular time. Generally, the expertise starts coming at the secondary level. And so one of the things we are working on is how do we provide more professional development? If you saw our science scores, they're not anything to write home about. We struggle in ensuring that we have enough time to teach all of the subjects that we, one, required to teach, and two, our teachers are held accountable for those subjects. So we want to develop strong partnerships with USF, the State College of Florida, to start bringing in more people who are experts in certain types of sciences to come in and work with our elementary teachers in training. In addition, that's why we've expanded our what we call mobile classroom experiences. Dana Pounds, who's here for Nature's Academy, it is one of now our 5th grade required mobile classroom experiences. So this past year, she saw over 2,600 5th graders from Manatee County Public Schools. So we are working with other partners now. Our 4th graders go to the South Florida Museum. Our 3rd graders go to, and it just left my brain, another Emerson Point, working with that organization. So we are continuing to add those experiences for our students, but we also have to couple that with training for our teachers. We have to also start replacing our technology. Our technology has not been upgraded since 2007. So anything that you think you had from 2007, you don't have it now. But we still do in the school district. And that's another funding source that we will have to start figuring out how can we tap into to start replacing that, because many of the arts are going very digital, and our high school students are craving for that kind of exposure, but we have to ensure that the technology that we're using with them is the most up-to-date technology.
Thank you. Dr. Greene, I'm Edward Veltz, and let me add my thanks to you for joining us. You mentioned your track career. I would only add to that you've certainly been running fast since you've been superintendent, and we certainly appreciate that. My question relates to initiatives that are somewhat new to Manatee County that you've been a champion of. 2 of our challenges, one of them is in the preschool area, and the second one is what happens to kids academically during the summer. And you've done some wonderful things in that regard, and I was wondering, would you comment on those?
Yes, this year we started Title I Pre-K, providing free pre-K, full-day pre-K to our students of poverty who live in Title I zones. This year, under the direction of Dr. Robin Thompson, we served almost 500 students in our Title I elementary schools. And the data was phenomenal on the transformation from where they came into the school, or their academic initiation, to where they were at the end of the school year. we close the gap between our Title I students in pre-K to our non-Title I students who attend VPK, or what we call integrated VPK, by 50%. And it truly is where we're going to have to start putting our money, because the earlier we can get to them, the less the gap will be, and it'll be easier to close that gap. Part of that gap is also our initiative with African American males. We are ranked number 2, and it's not a good ranking, for over-identification of African American males in self-contained EBD classes. That means emotionally, behaviorally disabled students. Our task force is starting to move forward with a mentorship program, trying to implement an early warning system so that we can identify students who are struggling academically, whether it's discipline, attendance, test scores. And so once we have those students identified, the task force is working on pairing these students up with mentors to help them before they get to a point where it's going to be very challenging. I would prefer to be investing in pre-K than DJJ. So we have to make that decision. Our summer slide initiative, this is the first year all of our Title I schools had summer school. It was for all upcoming kindergarten through 3rd graders. It was very successful. That is where we started seeing the data that it's one thing to get them to a point at the end of the year, but if we don't keep working with them through the summer, they slide back. And so then we're starting, not all the way from the beginning, but we're constantly starting over at the beginning of each year and not moving forward with these students.
This will be the last question.
Okay. My name is Lou Murray. I'm with the NAACP for Manatee County. When I retired as a business executive in the Detroit area, I decided to kind of give back, and I went into the school districts as a school social worker. And it was an eye-opener, it really was. And one of the things we did was we worked with the Boys and Girls Club on a concept, a model. And we brought it into some of the schools. And we cut the truancy and absentee rate almost in half by implementing this system. And I'll be glad to share that with you after the meeting. But my question is, how are you using social workers in Manatee County? How are they used in the school system here?
We only have 17 social workers in the entire, so 17 social workers covers all 64 schools. So first of all, we do not have enough social workers, but they are now, with the new position of the graduation enhancement tech, they have formed a team, and we are using a national research-based attendance model, which is called Check and Connect. And so they will be the lead for the graduation enhancement techs to help now, once an issue's been identified, the social workers will now connect these families to outside agencies who could possibly support them. But our social workers are also very much tied to identifying students for ESE. And so they have a whole nother area that they are required to do that is outside of what people think of when they hear the word social worker. So our social workers have a twofold job, and we do not have enough of them. So adding this position only supports them in helping get this work done. She's had her hand up. I don't want to. I'm sorry. I gotta win.
Thank you, Dr.
I'm not
Greene.
running for office, but I'm gonna win every vote I can.
I'm Susie Atherton with the Manatee Community Foundation, also partnering on this grade level reading thing with United Way and USF. And during the Giving Challenge, which is September 1st and 2nd, everyone in this room can contribute to our grade level reading campaign by going online. The Manatee Community Foundation will match dollar for dollar up to $25,000. And the Patterson Foundation will match every donation up to $250. We could raise hundreds of thousands of dollars in 24 hours. And I have some flyers that I've brought, so please pick up the flyers, pass it along, go online, type in grade level reading, Manatee County, you'll find out all about it. Thank you, Dr. Greene.
Thank you. And just in closing, I also think there's a flyer out there about praying for our schools that will be next Tuesday night. Well, how about one of you stand and share that?
It's from 6 to 8 o'clock at the Manatee Performing Arts Center, and we just have a group of community people who will be praying over every aspect of our school employees and the students and the parents. So we hope that you would come and join us.
Thank you.
So, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. So I'd like to once again thank Dr. Greene for being here today. She's obviously very busy right now as we ramp up to day one on August the 24th, her first day.
I know I'm probably your favorite person on August 20th, those with you and children.
That's right.
You've been waiting to get them to us.
That's right. So thank you for your
Thank you.
inspiring remarks, your vision, your time, and your leadership. Our kids are in good hands. Thank you very much. One last piece of business. Also on your tables, in addition to those very worthwhile flyers that were already mentioned, the Chamber will be hosting a special VIP luncheon with Congressman Vern Buchanan in September, and there's information to register there. And there are also flyers, I think I'm reading this right, for the 25th Annual Business and Education Partnership Awards Breakfast. So if you're interested, please see those flyers and register. With that, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. Have a great day.